This is Sittingbourne Carnival, summer of 1978. Sadly, there was no carnival this year in 2020 due to the worldwide health crisis, and my thoughts are with the tireless volunteers of the Sittingbourne Carnival Association who've made this community event possible over the years. Starting with a group of people nearly 130 years ago. In October 1893, a meeting was held at the Fountain Hotel to consider the possibility of holding the first carnival and masquerade party in Sittingbourne and Milton, similar to that already held in other towns. There was already a carnival in Faversham, which was held on Mayor's Day, which received a large amount of support. As a result, the Sittingbourne and Milton Masquerade and Carnival Society was formed, with Mr Henry Payne as chairman and Mr R Hampton as vice chairman. As these men were well respected in the community, it was felt that they would gain support for the carnival, even though there were some people who disapproved of the idea. The first carnival was held on Wednesday the 22nd of November 1893 with the help of the Faversham Carnival Society, who had been running successful and well-attended carnivals for the previous few years. The carnival was held in the evening, and luckily the weather was clear following a blizzard at the start of the week. The station yard was the starting point, but due to the long length of the procession, it had to be formed up in Station Street with other sections in Bury Street and Cresent Street. The route was through Cresent Street, down the High Street, through East Street and up to Snips Hill. It travelled back through Sittingbourne again and visited Milton Town Hall in the High Street and returned to the station yard via various roads. By the end of the carnival, the pedestrians' feet must have been aching. The procession was headed by the President of the Carnival Society, Mr Henry Payne, followed by past and present mayors of Sittingbourne. Horsemen were dressed up as Australian bushrangers, followed by the band of the Faversham Artillery Volunteers, whose uniform glittered in the light from the accompanying torchbearers. The Milton Fire engine, drawn by a pair of horses, was driven by Captain Prentice in his full uniform. With cars not yet in general use, horses drew the mobile floats, which represented local businesses, charities and shops. These included Peters & Sons, auctioneers, valuers and house furnishers, Dean's Ginger Beer, James Dean, a mineral water manufacturer living at Terrace Road, and one of the most popular would have been Mr A. E. Gorham's Carnival Whisky Float. Mr Gorham was manager of the Fountain Inn, which handed out free samples. This, I imagine, would have gone down very well. From the report in the East Kent Gazette, many of the floats had people on them demonstrating their trades, such as coopers, blacksmiths and tin plate workers. Unfortunately, the tin plate workers float was followed by a clown on a donkey, and the clown was having difficulty controlling the donkey due to the noise of the tin plate workers hammering away. The butcher's float by Mr Redhead had a real live bullock on the float. Mr Thomas Redhead had a butcher's shop at 6 New Road. The fishing trade was represented by Mr Gotham of Milton, with a boat mounted on a float lit up with lanterns. Many representatives of pubs and trades in Sittingbourne also took part in the procession. Some young people dressed as masqueraders, and the Milton Ghost was represented by one of them dressed in a night dress and cap, with a card on his back declaring "The Charlotte Street Ghost." Business premises would decorate the outside of their buildings with lights. At Martin's Bank in the High Street, Mr Payne had illuminated the front of the premises with coloured lights in the shape of a star, and further down, Mr Buggs at the Lion Hotel had coloured lights and Japanese lanterns. The following year, 1894, the carnival was held on Wednesday the 7th of November, starting at Station Yard once again and setting off at 7:15 p.m. This year the public were warned about letting off fireworks and were urged to help the committee and the police by keeping order throughout the evening. Householders along the route were asked to put up illuminations. There were certain rules in place which people had to follow, such as all horses and vehicles had to be led, no effigies were allowed in the procession, and all torches and lanterns had to be handed back at the Fountain Hotel yard after the procession. Unfortunately, the weather was not kind to the carnival on the day, as there was torrential rain which saturated the masqueraders' clothing and the fragile lanterns. During the early 1900s, interest in the carnival was starting to diminish, and in 1903 it was decided not to hold a carnival that year. From then up until the First World War, we can find no mention of a carnival being held in Sittingbourne. On the 31st of August 1918, there was a carnival held specifically in aid of Whitehall Red Cross Hospital, which cared for many soldiers during the First World War. By 1918, motor vehicles were being used in the carnival as well as horse-drawn vehicles, and prizes were awarded for the best decorated vehicles in both categories. The first prize was £1, equivalent to £51 today, and the second prize was 10 shillings. Prizes were also awarded for the best decorated bicycle and baby carriage, as well as categories which would be recognised today. In 1922, Sittingbourne, Milton Regis and Merston Nursing Association found themselves almost in dire straits, and after other avenues had been explored, it was decided to hold a carnival on the 21st of October to raise funds. A committee was formed under the chairmanship of Mr. W.R. Elgar. On the day, the weather was dry with a cold easterly wind, and although there were a couple of rain showers, these cleared up before the parade started. According to reports, there were thousands of people in the town, and most of the onlookers then went on to watch the football match at the Bull Ground. The 1922 procession started from Merston Railway Bridge at 2:30 p.m. and made its way through to Sittingbourne High Street and then through Chalkwell Road to Milton High Street. It then dispersed at the Park Tavern, having travelled back through Kingsmill Road, New Road, Cheapside and Station Street. Some hours after the procession, the main High Street was still thronged with young people who were enjoying themselves immensely by showering all and sundry with confetti. One of the floats, ended by the Queen's Picture Theatre, showed a bevy of queens, including the queens of spades, diamonds, hearts and clubs. The vehicle was entitled Queen's All. Milton Regis Infants School had entries representing nursery rhymes, one of which today would be considered politically incorrect. In the evening, carnival dances took place at the Town Hall and the Drill Hall, with 360 people crowding into the Town Hall. Milton held its own dance at Milton's Dance Hall. One feature was the chance to win over 100 prizes donated by tradespeople. To take part, people had to purchase a carnival programme with a number on it. The prizes were displayed in various shop windows with the winning number attached to the relevant prize, so people had to look in the shop windows to see if they had won a prize. In all, 12,000 programmes were sold. In 1924, it was decided to hold the carnival on a Saturday in the summertime to take advantage of the light evenings and higher temperatures. Once again, the proceeds from the carnival were to go to the Sittingbourne, Milton and Merston Nursing Association. This time, the Avenue of Remembrance was used to organise the floats into order for the procession. The carnival set off at 5:10 into Bell Road, led by lively music from the band of the Sittingbourne Paper Mills. As motor traffic had increased, it was now necessary for the police to regulate traffic to allow the procession to pass through the streets. Following the carnival, a fete was held in the evening at Sittingbourne Football Ground. People from all walks of life attended and joined in the spirit of the fete, and the amateur showmen and women had an easy task in inducing the revellers to part with their money for the Nursing Association. Traditional stalls such as coconut shies, skittles and hoopla were all on offer. The large sum of money raised as a consequence of the 1924 carnival enabled the Nursing Association to carry on the good work without making any special appeal to the public again until 1927. By this time their funds were running low, and following a public meeting, a committee was set up to arrange another carnival to be held on the 28th of May 1927. The coronation of 1937 provided probably the last opportunity for similar festivities in the town before such things ceased for the duration, as they used to say. Following the Second World War, the idea of holding a carnival was once again considered, and the first post-war carnival was held in November 1948 with a grand torchlight procession organised by the British Legion. The money raised was being donated to the servicemen's and women's welfare funds, and people in large numbers turned out to watch. Due to the length of the carnival, the procession had to start from different locations. The carnival set off from East Street at 6:45, travelling through the town and on to Milton. and eventually returning to the Avenue of Remembrance, where judging took place at 8 o'clock. A carnival was held in 1949 when £74, 15 shillings and sixpence, equivalent to £2,600 today, was raised and was split between the British Legion and the local Association for the Blind. Anybody who remembers watching the carnivals in the early 1960s will remember the antics of the students of the Kent Farm Institute, based until 1966 in College Road. You could never guarantee that what the boys on the KFI floats were spraying was only water. The students would get into all sorts of mischief at the carnival, and this led to some bad press in the East Kent Gazette. In 1962, the students paraded a replica coffin with the words "Sittingbourne Carnival Spirit Dead and Buried" written on the side. However, they continued to bring their high spirits to bear on the carnival, and in 1964 briefly kidnapped the Sittingbourne Carnival Queen, Valerie Grant. Sadly, many might say, the Kent Farm Institute left the town in 1966. Sittingbourne Carnival Association was formed and have done a tremendous job over the years, combating weather, funding or lack of it, apathy and even vandalism. There have been highs and lows. A particularly difficult year in 2006, for example, for struggling with support, funding, policing and so on. The carnival route has been the same as it has been for many years now, starting in Milton Rec, along Milton High Street, up Chalkwell Road, then west to east along the A2, dispersing in East Street. This year, in 2020, although a carnival court was selected, the carnival had to be cancelled. Let's all hope that normal life can resume for future years. Sittingbourne's thanks are owed to all of those who have worked at this from 1893 to the present day. If you have found this video interesting, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or visit our website